One thing I will say, as a word of warning.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Is that if you are migrating from version 2.3 to 2.5, do not move your project files from 2.3 to 2.5, okay? Copy them and keep your existing version 2.3 application and the project files. The reason I say that is if you were to move them into version 2.5 and you open up those themes are automatically converted to 2.5, and there is no real way back. If you were to then take those version 2.5 files and put them back into 2.3, a lot of those properties have gone, especially for wheels. So if you decide that 2.5 is not for you for whatever reason, and you wish to continue with 2.3, you would have an awful lot of rework to do. So again, copy your existing 2.3 project files over to 2.5. Do not move them. So if you've been following my progress update videos for version 2.5, one of the key points that I was stressing throughout the course of all of those videos was performance, and how key performance was for all the changes that I was making, because adding new functionality, I didn't want it to cause any further performance impacts using the application. And to be honest, version 2.3 was not running as fast as I would have liked it to be anyway. So I was very, very worried about adding all this new functionality, and it ended up running like a dog. So I spent a considerable amount of time examining and re-examining how a lot of this stuff operates, and ended up throwing away a lot of code and replacing it with new methods. So if you noticed, when the application first loaded, or as it was loading, there was a splash screen. When that splash screen is up, it's actually loading your game collection, platform collection and whatnot into memory, and then from here on in, that bubble of data is then accessed by the application to retrieve your game and platform and playlist information as and when it needs it, as opposed to how it used to operate: reach out, open up the XML files in Launchbox, grab the data it needed, and then close the XML files. That's how it was operated before, so it was very slow. But it wasn't just data access, it was UI as well. So, you know, window performance, even utilities such as building a fake ROM list, these were kind of slow. Publishing a theme, all of these areas have been looked at and rehashed. Previewing a view on the screen in the main window here, and even editing your content in the editor. All of those areas have been touched in some shape or form. Some have had major rewrites. Some areas have been tweaked. So yeah, basically the entire app has been rehashed performance-wise. And you know, we'll see this as we go through. I'll start building a view and mess around with some wheels and stuff, so you'll actually get to see you know, how fast this stuff is being displayed as we go. But just real quick, if I click on let's say all games, see, it was almost instantaneous, and we've got over 8,000 games, I believe, in my collection, so that was pretty quick. All right, so that's about all I want to cover as far as performance is concerned. A lot of it, or all of it, is under the covers, but you know, it will vary from user to user as far as their experience is concerned, but I can guarantee if you've used version 2.3 and you're now using 2.5, it's a night and day experience. All right, so that's it for performance. So the next feature, and again, this is unlike performance where it's all pretty much under the covers and whatnot. The user interface for the app has been overhauled as well. Now, as much as I enjoyed creating all the various styles, you know, for version 2 up through 2.3, at the end of the day, I really didn't need, you know, three-dimensional looking rendered buttons and whatnot, and it was just a lot of shadows being cast unnecessarily, really, because at the end of the day, you just want to be able to present information and be able to, you know, tweak that information, and it's just got to be in a nice, ready, aligned view of maintainable elements, really. And I just thought the styling was kind of a distraction, so I've flattened everything out, and I've gone with this kind of hue, this light blue. You'll see this kind of throughout the application and more evident within the editor itself, as like a selected color, or a color that represents anything that's kind of active or selected. All right, but one of the major things here for the user interface and the user experience really is being able to no longer click on a drop down to select your theme. Now you can actually get to see your theme collection visually, and being able to click on any theme in your collection and seeing information regarding that theme on the right hand side. Okay, so you know, you can see as much of, you know, the number of based on the number of images or videos that you may have placed inside your theme, you can now see how large this theme is. So you get a general idea of, you know, pretty much how big this theme is when you're going to publish it on the forum. All right, and whether or not it's too big, you know. But you know, you can see what aspect ratio the theme is set to. You know, are you using wheel item templates, which we'll get to. It's a new feature within version 2.5, but it just gives you a basic outline of how this theme is kind of set up, just from a very high level. Okay, so this is your theme manager. So you can create new themes, and then for an existing theme you can edit it, rename it, duplicate it, whatnot. So you can add notes, and this is no different than what was there before. It's just that you're accessing these panels from a different way, different method. you can still hide the sidebar. All right, and even with it hidden, you can get to the theme manager still. And I've tweaked up some of the menu options, and we'll get to those too. But let me put the sidebar back in. And we'll go into a view very quickly. And I'm using my control key, and I've got a scroll wheel on my mouse. So I'm going to press and hold the control key and scroll down, and I can actually zoom to 10%. So if you wish, and I'm doing the same thing, control with your mouse pointer within this properties window, I can make this bigger or smaller. Now I actually have an ultra wide, so I can position these things very easily, but I've changed the resolution for this video and the aspect ratio for this video. So if I wanted to, you know, before you would kind of fight and you would move this around, work on this area, you know, and then now you want to work on this area, so you would move it over here. Well, now, because you can actually zoom the editor workspace, you can be able to basically have the properties panel and workspace visible at the same time, okay, without obscuring any of your UI elements. Now, with that said, I've also added workspace position. So I'm going to move the workspace all the way over to the right and keep it centered. And now I can have my properties panel as large as it will go, and I can just keep it here. And now I can just work on the right hand side. Okay, so that was a relatively new feature. So now I can, you know, just edit to my heart's content in here, no problem. All right. All depends on how you wish to operate, but that's you know, that's entirely up to you. And if you are familiar with custom images and you create a lot of custom images, and maybe you create marquee images, you can now create images greater than your desktop resolution. So if your Windows desktop resolution is set to 1080p, but you want to build a 4K or render a 4K custom image, you can do that. All right. What is it, 38? Is it 3840? 2160? Is that right? And again, you know, we can zoom. And again, I can change my workspace position like so. But this is now operating at a 4K resolution. So I can add all my UI elements in here to make up, in this case, a marquee if I wanted to. All right. So it's very, very useful. Very useful. I'm sure there are other areas, and I'll get to those, but those are the major ones really. As you can see, the panels, they're all the same. Again, all the styling from version 2.3 is gone. Everything is flat. In my mind, it's a lot easier to read now. All right, so anyway, that is the new user interface for version 2.5. supplemental XAML files. Okay, to access that from the main window, go into the menu option here. There's a new menu option, Big Box Supplemental Files, and it opened it up on my second monitor, and it opens up a views folder for your theme. And I put a text file in here, so it just gives you an idea of some of the files that you can copy in here. And I'll pick a different theme, just so that you can see where we're coming from here. Pyramids. And we'll go into views. Now this uses, let's see, platform view. Trying to remember which one it is. I think it's text filters. Yep. So there's an area here for favorites and recent games, and the community theme creator doesn't support previewing that information as of yet. But if you have styled such XAML files, okay, and if you weren't aware of a workaround, you were probably publishing the theme from the theme creator, and then right at the very end you would include your XAML files that you've performed customization against, and now you've ended up with a complete package. Well, what you can do, like I said, you can open up Big Box Supplemental Files, and in this theme you can see that Rincewind has included the what was it? The thumbnail for recent and favorites. Okay, so and he's done customization on there. I think it was, you know, he's changed the shape of the borders, you know, the selected borders and whatnot, and the colors. But it's his own customization. So as he's placed it in here, when you publish, it will push those along into the final theme. So now you don't have to remember to manually go in and replace certain files with your own customized versions of those SAML files. That's a way that you can do it. Okay, so again, menu option from the main window, open Big Box Supplemental Files, and that's all you have to do. Just drop them in there. Okay. Hidden games. So up until version 2.5, when accessing your game collection, I have always prevented hidden games from being displayed. They're just not accessible. Okay, but I have made a change per a request, and you, by default, when you launch version 2.5, it will include hidden games now. But if you don't want to see hidden games, all right, you just simply go into application settings, again from the main menu on the first main window, application settings, and as you can see, it's set to on. You just switch it off, and it says application must be restarted, and that's fine. You just okay it, close it, excuse me, and restart the app. And at this point, it's now deselecting any games that have been flagged as hidden. Okay, so there you go. Now you can you can have it either way you want. But again, by default, version 2.5 ships with this option set on, so it will display hidden games. All right, but this is how you switch it on and off. We have a new UI element that can be leveraged in your views and whatnot. and that is called Wrap Panel. And what I'll do here, I'm just going to create a new theme. Demo 2.5 features. Alright, so we'll select that. And let's see, I'll go to text games. I'll edit. I'll put the list over here. And what I'll just make the background kind of just a shade of gray, just so that we can see the outline here. And it's another parent control. All right. So here's a wrap. And we have an orientation property, and I'll go over that in a second. I'll show you what it will do. I'm trying to give you an indication of what it's supposed to do in the icon here. I'm just going to create some basic elements here. So here's one rectangle. I'm going to add it. I'm going to add an ellipse. And I'm going to cheat, and I'll change the color. All right. And like I said, there's an orientation property for wrap panel, and it's set to vertical. Okay. So as you can see, they're vertically aligned. They're going straight down from top to bottom. And if I bring it, if I resize it so that the last child cannot fit within the height of the parent, it will push it to the next column over. All right, so let's do it again. You see that? All right, so that's with it vertically aligned. Now let's do it with horizontal. And this time, it will utilize the width as best it can. And if there is not enough room for all the children to be inserted into the wrap panel in this orientation, it will drop to the next row. Okay. All right. So wrap panel can be very useful for many things. It could be used for badges, for example, allowing multi-row, multi-column usage, depending on how many badges you wish to display. But it's just another UI element that you can leverage. I think it's very, very useful. All right, so that is wrap panel. New binding values. All right, so we have 3. Technically there's 4, but there's 3 that have main usages across the board. One is kind of limited use, but we'll cover that 4th one in a later topic. But there are 3 main binding values that have been added here, and I can do it on any view. So the first one is aspect ratio. just for sake. I'll put the text in the center. Excuse me. All right, so aspect ratio. The next one should really be a is selected item index. Oh, excuse me. Again, metadata, selected item index, increase the font. Actually, we can have some fun with this. And then the next one is max items. Okay, so I'm just gonna cheat. All right, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna throw this into a doc. Okay, so we've got selected item index, max items. They're the same font size. I'll do this. Make it constant. Okay. And then with doc, auto size, and then we can always lock the content so we can really move this around. So, selected item index, I'm gonna change the color of this just ever so slightly. And the same with max items. And then relock. All right. Now, if I move this over, so according to the platform I'm on, a 3DO, I believe, I am on the first game of 115 games in the collection, the 3DO. All right, and as I scroll down, and I'm not going to count out to see if I've got 115 games, okay? Certainly looks like it. All right, so game 115 of 115. And you can use this anywhere. You can reference this anywhere. You can display it anywhere. You can reference these anywhere, display them anywhere, and you can display them however you see fit. All right. This was just a very quick and dirty way of me putting them in there. But they work on all wheel views, and you can insert them into wheel item templates as well, and we'll cover that much later. All right. And other than just referencing or seeing what aspect ratio your view is in or your theme is in here, there's some other powerful stuff that you can actually do with these values coming back. And again, I'll show you that in another feature. All right, but these are the three main binding values that I've added, and this one will be of great importance later on. All right. Additional aspect ratios. Yep. Again, just move your mouse pointer to the top of the main screen, and I've added an ultra wide aspect ratio, 21:9, and then I figured, as I've got a separate my second monitor is in a very odd aspect ratio, I decided to add it over here, 16:18, because I figured, why not? I have that monitor, I can certainly test the application on it if I switch it over to become my primary monitor, and see how some of these views look in full screen on that monitor. This was one way to do it. So there you go, I've added 2 more. And just because you may not have an ultra-wide monitor, but you may be developing a theme that can bounce between 16:9 and ultra-wide. So now, because you've got the ultra-wide aspect ratio listed here, you can now switch your theme back and forth to see how it would react and operate in both modes, if that's what you choose. Or you're developing a theme that is strictly for ultra wide, but you don't have an ultra wide. Again, you can design in this aspect ratio even though that you don't have an ultra wide monitor. Okay, so it's entirely possible now. So there you go, 2 more aspect ratios for you to play around with. Opacity mask resources. Okay, well, the best way to explain this is to do it. So this view looks very bland. So I'm going to add a video. Actually, let me just add a new layer. Add a video. Selected item video. Here it is. Like so. Standard fare. Okay. Let's say I want to have the corners rounded, and ordinarily I would have to then, you know, either create an image, a masking image or a PNG with rounded corners, and then I would apply it to this selected item video in the opacity mask settings here. Okay, well, it's just too much. So you can actually do it within the editor. Something like this, where you just want rounded corners. So we're gonna add a rectangle. Like so. And then we have some new properties on here. So we've got radius X and radius Y. And as you can see, all right. So let's make it the same. Okay, 50-50. And then what we'll do, we can say, well, the layout of this UI element, rectangle, I'm going to use as a masking resource. And as soon as I do that, it's no longer visible within the editor because it's no longer a rendered UI element. It's a resource, and it goes red. Okay, so now when I go to selected item video, I can go down to the opacity mask settings, and I can say I want a opacity mask, and I've got an option for mask resource, and it's given me this element up here, rectangle 1. So I select it, and it's already defaulted to fill. And as you saw, I made sure that the rectangle was the same size as the video, you know, so it wouldn't really can be stretched in any shape or form. Okay, but that's what I did. And then, you know, I guess if I wanted to add a shadow, I can do that. And let's pick a different game with different colors. It could stand out a little bit instead of being where it was here. There you go. So there you go. That was a very quick, easy way of applying a masked resource to an object. Now the same is true. We have rectangle, but you could easily set it up, excuse me, for an ellipse. So I could say, let's say 300 by 300, and well, actually, let's make it 500 by 500. Okay. And I'm going to define that as a mass resource. And again, selected item video. Instead of rectangle 1, make it the ellipse 1. Okay. And you can set it to uniform. So it's a perfect circle. That's another way of doing it. Okay. All depends on what you want to do. All depends on what you're trying to achieve, but they're very quick to put together. And so yeah, those are the two UI elements that you can leverage and switch to a masking resource. Okay, it's very quick and easy. And there you go. Yeah, wheels can now be displayed, finally, after all this time. And to be honest, it was only made possible because of the Launchbox team, Christian Beats. He developed new wheels and the ability to configure the content. Obviously, if you're familiar with XAML, then you can fully, you know, tailor how you want these wheels to look and how you want the contents to look. Okay, so it's taken a while. I mean, primarily, I was gonna try and get a version 2.4 out to you guys a lot sooner, but it wouldn't have, that version would not have allowed you to actually design, easily design visually the contents of the wheel. It would have really been up to you, if you're familiar with XAML, to embed XAML source, and I really didn't like that idea of releasing that version and then you know, there would be a lot of scrambling in the forum with people asking, how do you do this and how do you do that, and you know, does anyone have any example code to kind of include or embed, you know, into the wheel and whatnot. And you can still do it in version 2.5, but I have provided the ability to edit the content, or creating a template that you can apply, so all the wheel item contents can be applied to your wheel and whatnot. But that is for another topic. But it's very involved. So it wasn't just displaying the wheels, there were a lot of other facets that kind of went with it. Anyway, let's pick, we can pick anything actually. I can go back to Coverflow Games View, for example, and hit edit. And again, this is a brand new theme, brand new view, okay? All right, and we're in 3DO. I guess I can put that there. All right, so it's defaulted to this cover flow view here. And just so I can fit all of this together, like so. All right. So now you can see how the new cover flow works. And what I've done, if I click on the wheel, this was the default, but I can click on 3D with spin, and now when I go left and right, yeah, pretty cool, huh? And if anybody comes up with some other settings that look a lot better, you know, by all means, you know, reach out to me, and I can always either change the assists that I have or add additional assists in here. Okay, but as you can see, as soon as I went into the view, it had already selected the default for the wheel and loaded it up. Now for cover flow, it's going to leverage images that are already cached. So for example, if I went to a different platform, yeah, it's highly unlikely that these images are in cache. However, at least you can see the layout of the cover flow. All right, so the wheel is visible, and it is, well, this was still set to 3D with spin, so it is actually performing that function. It's just not showing any content. But when you publish and you're in Big Box, the images will be pulled from cache and they'll be displayed just fine. Okay, so you are still able to preview your wheel. Okay, so 3D wheels were recently added. I was just waiting on some changes and the official Big Box release, and that allowed me to kind of wrap this section up. All right, so that was cover flow. Let's go to a horizontal wheel games view. Click edit, and again, wheel is displayed. It takes its defaults, and we go straight in, and here's our wheel properties. They're very different to what you've seen before. It's currently set to horizontal. I can switch it to cover flow. But we've already covered that, so I'm going to switch it to just regular horizontal. And then we've got different properties here for the wheel item that isn't selected. So if we look at the item that's typically in the center, is the selected item. Okay, everything else is the unselected or non-selected items. So you can tweak the properties up there. You can alter the spacing between them, any kind of rotation, all this kind of good stuff. Okay, and then we have properties pertaining to the selected item itself. All right, so for example, if I wanted to beef up the scale size of the selected item, yeah, you can see that. You can do that too. Now the overall size of the wheel is controlled here under the wheel tab, and I've got these dividers in here to make it absolutely clear what properties go with what. So this is all pertaining to the wheel. So you can alter the size of the wheel here, the overall size of the wheel, like this, okay? And then how many items you wish to that are computed to fit within that space. I've got it set to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, you know, I've got an extra one off screen either side. Probably okay. But you don't want to overload it, because if you do that, if I were to put invisible count 32, then it's going to be doing an awful lot of work on either side, and you're not even seeing those items being displayed. So it's entirely up to you. So let's see, I've got some other assists in here, and I've got a ton of them. So the default was this horizontal. This just sets it to horizontal regardless of whatever image you may have selected. So if I scroll down even further, what the wheel item contains, so I've got it set to clear logo, but maybe I want boxes, okay, or I don't know, 3D carts, 3D boxes, for example, okay. So let's go back up to assists, and we can go through. So I can say horizontal with 3D boxes, okay. Let's see, I can say horizontal with height, where they're a lot closer together. This particular platform, I don't have a great deal of 3D box artwork. Let's see if I can find one that's a good example. I mean, this is a good example. This looks pretty cool, but I just don't have very many games. Let's see, arcade. Yeah, this is actually a very good example. Now, I'm not even using the new 3D box here. I'm just using the regular 3D box art, and with obviously the new wheel code, and I think this looks incredible. It's probably one of my favorite wheel settings now, if I were to be perfectly honest. So I've clicked on wheel. Let's see. Now the performance of the editor with these wheels is not really kind of representative of what it would look like in Big Box, or how it would perform in Big Box. It would perform a lot better in Big Box because it's more integrated. Their wheel code with everything else is a lot tighter and a lot more kind of tightly integrated than it is with how their code is integrated with my application, okay? So I've just managed to kind of make it work. But I think this looks great. So again, this is just an assist. Horizontal cover flow 3D, we've already covered that. If you want to switch it to that, again with 3D but with a spin, we've seen this. Horizontal curved bottom of the screen, if we wanted to do that. And let's see, I would have to change the wheel item to be, I don't know, clear logos. So we have a slight curve going on. Okay, ever so subtle. And then the other assist is curved. If you were to place this at the top of the screen, let's see if I just align it. right. And again, so there you go. All right. Gonna realign it, put it at the bottom. And am I operated in ultra wide? I think I'm working in 21.9. But I'm going to change the wheel assist back to horizontal. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just save that. Yeah, I thought I was operating in. Let me put it in widescreen. There you go. So yeah, all the wheels are being displayed. So again, you know, I can go into platform wheel and pretty much do the same thing here. You know, here you go. It's defaulting to clear logo. We have similar assists here. There's a whole bunch. So you can curve, but with the platform views, you can set them to vertical. So now all I just do is that, okay? And we're good to go, all right? And again, if I wanted vertical but curved to the right, here you go. And you know, if this stuff is too close together, see this is the selected item here, we can alter the spacing. So let's put, we've got item spacing for the selected, non-selected items. I think that's okay, but the space isn't big enough between this and this, okay? So we want to give it some more room. There you go. So I reduced it. It was a negative 0.8. I mean, I could do 0.6. I could even do 0.5. Okay. Not too shabby. And then, you know, the same is true for the items that aren't selected, you know, above and below. And we have, you know, settings for above and below the selected item. Yeah, a lot of properties. But it gives you that, it gives you the ability to really kind of heavily customize these wheels and how you want them to look. So, all right, so that was, I'll leave it as vertical. And now we'll go to War Games and hit edit. And of course we go into one platform that has not a great deal. Let's see. There you go. So this is its default for a wall view. And I'll punch up the virtual gamepad and you can move around. Okay. So again, you can you know, change it up based on the platform and how, let's say you're using the wall view for box front, so you want to kind of set it up for you know, portrait type box covers, box fronts. So I've got assists in here that will do that. I've got landscape, portrait, and square, depending on you know, the configuration of the box fronts. All right, so I selected portrait, so they're a lot closer together, left and right, and above and below. All right. Let's go to, so if we had one, I'm trying to think, which uses square? Is it Dreamcast? Game Gear. Nintendo Game Boy, there you go, square. So what we would do here, I could copy from the default, because I set up the wheel for portrait, and then I could just simply go down into, what was it? It was Nintendo Game Boy, right? And then paste, and now we've got the Nintendo Game Boy configuration, and I would just go in, I would click it, go to the wheel, click the assist, select square, and it will get us pretty much into the ballpark that you would be looking for. I mean, you may want them a lot closer together, it's entirely up to you, okay? But it gets you pretty bloody close to what you would want, all right? Okay. And then again, if I went to default and went to one that, like PlayStation 2, for example, that would use the default wall configuration, that looks fine. Okay. And that is pretty much it. Yeah, as far as displayable wheels are concerned, yeah, like I said, they're all displayable now within the editor. All right. It's just some other features that we're going to discuss takes it to a whole new other level. All right, but finally we get wheels being displayed within the theme creator. Yeah, and Capture is back, and this was a late addition or revision for 2.5. It was added just last week, and you have Farron or Brian to thank for that. It was something that was just not on my radar at all for version 2.5, but he supplied some code and I was able to quickly integrate it into version 2.5, and I think you're just going to love this implementation. So let's see, we'll go to text games view, and let's get rid of the mass resource. Let's get rid of the effect as well. All right. And so to do capture, you just add an image, and what I'm going to do is kind of match the width of the video. And I'm going to set this to fill. And then, excuse me, and then select this option here, image to display. I want to capture UI element, and it says, okay, what element do you wish to capture? And I want to capture the selected item video. And there you go. Now, to make it look more like a reflection, again, within the captured image, I'm going to flip it vertically. Okay. Then I can do this. And then I can, you know, bring down the opacity. And if I want, I just add a very light blur, like so. Okay. You can do it on anything, really. So, for example, we have this dock up here. It's about the same. And again, I'm going to capture, and it's dock 1. And I'm going to flip it. Now, it's set to uniform. Images do that when you first add them. Let's set it to stretch. Okay. And it's just ever so slightly off. Now this isn't you know, a perfect test, because I would need to, as the content changes, it would shrink and grow, and of course it's not moving the you know, the image along with it. But that would just be a simple case of embedding this inside another parent element, and it would reflect it no problem. In fact, why don't I just do it? So I'll just put it inside another dock, for example, and then set this dock to be something like, oops, and we'll keep the width. I'm going to auto size the height. All right, so I can take this second image. So I want to copy, paste, layout. I don't want auto size. And then I want to change, instead of dock 1, it's now going to be dock 2, like so. And then we're going to flip it. And we'll Gonna do this. And blur it just a tad, like so. And now, when I go up and down through the games list, actually, there you go. As the content is expanding and contracting, because I'm dealing with a fixed width parent UI element, I'm scanning the content of that as opposed to the this parent, which is growing and shrinking. I'm tracking the whole width. It's perfectly aligned and gives the and makes it look like there's a true reflection there. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right. So again, you know, it's entirely up to you how you wish to implement something like this, but I thought it was kind of neat. And it's dead easy to do, as you can see. It's really just a case of using an image and then selecting capture, and then the element that you wish to capture. That's it. No biggie. All right, layout conditioning. Again, this was another late entry for version 2.5. It was added just a few weeks ago, and it's not something that I included in the last evaluation, because I really wanted to kind of explain it away within this video. So in order to do this, and to provide a really good demonstration of what this all means and what you can do with it, just so happens I have a cut down theme that a guy on the forum is currently putting together. And we'll switch to that theme. Now, he's been able to produce a similar effect, but at the cost of performance, and that's not his fault. It was just that these features, this functionality didn't exist in version 2.3, so he was just leveraging what he had at his disposal. But the idea is we have multiple platforms, and each one has artwork. Okay, and the problem to solve is to place the selected item video inside the respective TV or handheld. Okay, obviously based on the platform selected. So as you can see, an old vintage TV is being displayed for certain things, you know, an old monitor. They're in different positions, they're different sizes. So this is quite the challenge. Okay, so what do we do? Well, let's start with Microsoft Xbox 360, and unfortunately I don't have a video, so I do not have video, so that's not going to work for us, is it? Let's pick Windows. There you go. So let's start with Windows. So how do we take a selected item video and make it operate within this space, and then make it work for all the other platforms without creating a whole slew of platform platform related views. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to take the selected item video, and it doesn't really matter, I'm just going to slap it, put it all the way down here for the time being, it doesn't really matter. And we have our platform frame. I'm assuming this is the big full screen image of let's see, of the computer or the console or an arcade or whatever it is. So we want the selected item video to still be below the frame, all right, which it is. So we're going to build a whole slew of what I call targets, and we'll put them here. Target all right, so I'm going to add a rectangle, and I'm going to name this what are we in, Windows, and I'm going to take this rectangle and I'm going to place it like so, and just kind of size it just ever so slightly outside of here. Although this is supposed to be more modern, right? So we can be kind of like right on it. Like that, okay? So that's where we want the selected item video to be for Windows, all right? So what I want to do, let's make the rectangle, let's make it black. And what else do we need to do? I'm just trying to think, because as we transition from video to video, we want a black background, right? So we only want, so our good old visibility conditioning, we collapse it and only make it visible when the platform value contains Windows. All right, that's the only time we display it. And then we take our selected item video and we go down to a new property within our layouts, and this is to remap. So we're going to add a condition. So selected item video 1 uses define layout, which is down here, that's its default, unless we use, I'm going to change the name. I don't like that. I don't like the name of that. I like that. I'm sorry. Let's go back. So we want to map it to Windows when game platform value contains Windows. All right. And we want that to do I have And I don't have animations set on. Do I need animations on? Can't remember. When I did this, I altered the height. I don't know how I did that or why I did that. So let's try that again. Oops. I did something. I don't know what I did. Okay, whoops. So that's our Windows target, okay? We want the selected item video to be there. So when I save it, sure enough, and then as I switch between games, we still have a black background, which is kind of key. Otherwise it would be transparent and you would see all the wall and arcade artwork behind. Yeah, that wouldn't look right. Okay, now let's pick we can pick arcade, and remember this is our default position, default location. So what I want to do, excuse me, I want to create another one. This one is called Arcade, and this is only visible when the platform is or contains arcade, which it does. So now it's visible, and we'll pop it here. And now we'll go up here, and we have a new, like a new badge icon to indicate that we have layout conditions for selected item video. So now I can add another one. I can say target arcade. And I'm just going to copy. Like that. All right, so now we got arcade. We have Windows. Let's just double check. Oh, if I want them collapsed, I'm going to make them hidden. Switch back to Windows. Yeah, that's better. Now, obviously, in big box, you're actually transitioning out, you're going into a platform view, you select a platform, then you go into game view. So you're not going to see this transition of the targets appearing and whatnot. You're not going to see that. That's not going to happen. But we can do one more. Let's go to... Game Boy Advance. Oh yeah, this is a good one because this is not straight. Yeah, so we can copy, paste, GBA. Yeah, this doesn't look straight, does it? Nope. Oh, good. This is a good one. It's a good example. Alright. So it looks like we got some rotation going on. I think that's about it. Let's bring it in. Excuse me. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna stop there. I hope that was GBA I was doing. I have a sneaky suspicion I just did arcade. Right. I knew I did that. Arcade. Yeah, I know. Damn it. Oopsie. Alright. I've put those. Now let me. Game Boy Advance. I gotta repeat this, unfortunately. Let me lock these down so I don't. Yeah, let's just user error. Well, we can move it around. So let's add another target. GBA when Game Boy Advance. And there it is there. Yeah, we're slightly off, so we can alter the location and alter the rotation. Let's make some minor adjustments. Yeah, because it wasn't perfectly straight. Yeah, there you go. So we'll come out. Yeah, looks good. So even with a slight rotation, and I guess if I added skew in there, it would apply that too, but we're good, right? Yeah, so that's how you do it. That is layout conditioning and being able to project a UI element and condition it to map to another UI element under a set of conditions. So again, I want to make sure I didn't screw up arcade. I didn't. Okay, good. And then Windows. There you go. that's how you can do it. Now we're going to take it one step further. Now I said this was kind of important. As you can see, we have the aspect ratio being displayed here. So let's say you are designing a theme that can work, or you want it to work for both 16:9 and ultra wide. Okay, so far all of these settings have been based on 16:9. So now we're going to switch into 21:9, and lo and behold, everything is just off kilter. Okay, the background image art is off. You know, the selected item video is all off, and I would expect it to be. So let's see how we can fix this. So the first thing we need to do is look at the background, and I'm going to set this to uniform to fill. Okay, so that's fixed the background, and now the platform frame, that's set to uniform. Will that work? Would you necessarily want it to do uniform to fill? I don't know. I'm gonna say that is a good question, because I didn't put this artwork together. Let's just hop between the three that I have. Doesn't look half bad. Let's go to Game Boy Advance. I think that looks okay. I'm going to leave it as uniform to fill. All right. So again, we're in ultra wide landscape, and I still want the settings there for the selected item videos. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change the grouping here. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to change the tags. 16:9. So I know that these are for widescreen only. And actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the first thing I want to do is change the conditions, the visibility conditions for all three. So I need to AND it. So not only is it the game platform, but and the aspect ratio is widescreen landscape. So that's our 16:9, okay? And we need to do that on all three. And aspect ratio is widescreen landscape. We've got one more. Okay. So now I'm going to create a copy of the GBA one, and this is for our 21:9, and this is for our ultra wide landscape. Okay. Let's just move this over here. pretty much the same level of rotation. It's just different position. It's about there. And now our selected item video, we have to alter our existing conditions. So, and aspect ratio value is widescreen landscape. Do the same for this one. Aspect ratio value is widescreen landscape. Aspect ratio value is widescreen landscape. Okay, so it depends how you want to do this. If you want to put all your platforms with the different aspect ratios, or you want to put the platforms and the aspect ratios in blocks. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to add one, and we want to, so for GBA, for example, we want to target GBA 21.9 game platform. And again, we can copy here. So I'm going to paste, copy, paste, contains, paste. What is it? Game Boy Advance. And what is it? Aspect ratio value is ultra wide landscape. Whoops. Ultra wide landscape. Okay. There you go. Let's just make sure I've got it completely in here. And I do. All right. So not only do we have the selected item video working within different platforms, we now can do it different platforms and different aspect ratios just by extending the conditions. Okay, I'm not going to go through the other two, but I think you get the general idea that it really is just depending on the conditions that you add, and you're just setting up a dummy element to act as a target. But in this case, that dummy element, we need it anyway because it's going to act as a black background as you transition from video to video. As you can see here, black screen. So why not use a rectangle? It's perfect. Okay, so that is layout conditioning. I know that was kind of involved, but it's extremely powerful, as you can see. All right.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
All right, guys. Last but not least, you can now create your own wheel item content, okay, and apply it to the wheels. And this is quite involved. So let's go back to what was it? Demo 2.5 features. See what we have. Play logos. We have actually this is a good example. All right, so let's start off very simple. All right. So you go up to the top of the screen for modifiers and you select the new wheel item template. Okay. You have 15 platform templates and you have 15 game wheel item templates, which I think is more than enough per theme. Okay, so we're gonna create a platform wheel item. You just edit, and if you're familiar with custom image, creating custom images, then you'll be familiar with this. All right. So let's see. I want to do something like that. That's the canvas. And I want to add a frame. Haven't figured out the background yet. Don't really care about that at the moment. Let's see. Let's say thick border, thick rounded border. I'm just going to use the assist here. Just use a silver color. Yeah, I don't really like that. What is the height? Okay. Let's change this to, what is it? Is it 150? Which is half the height of the canvas. Yeah. All right, that looks much better. Okay. And then we're going to add a wheel item image. I'm going to add it inside the frame. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm going to put it in the frame. Let's change the background of the frame. Trying to get the right. I don't know. something like that. Could spend days. And we'll jump back to the image, and we want this to be the platform clear logo. It's set to uniform. We'll center it, and we'll leave it like that. So that's a real basic template. Okay. So now we go back to our wheel. We want, which one was it? We had this platform wheel here. Yep. So a wheel is selected, scroll down, and it's specifically the wheel item. And right now it's set to clear logo. We're going to set it to template. We have one. And there you go. And we've still got the curve thing going on. All right. Now we got one where there is no image. So we can fix that. Where is it? Let's back up, I think. What was it? The Capcom Play System. Okay. So we can go in. Capcom Play System. And I'm going to add a view box. And I want it in the same location as the image. And then in that view box, I want some text. And get ahead of myself here. Let's see. Metadata. Platform name. Yeah. But we want this to grow and shrink. So yeah, that's not gonna do it. I want it to be auto-sized on the height. Let's give it some space. Actually, that's not what we want to do. We want to wrap like so. And then visibility conditioning. We don't want to show it, but we only want to show it when wheel item image 1 has no image. There you go. So we can come back out. to our platform view, and there you go. I think that was the only one that didn't have an image. Yeah. But at least it's got something in it. All right, and you can control how the content looks, text-wise, formatting, whatnot, when there's no image. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Now there's some other tricks that you can do. So we'll go back to the wheel item template. And I can just simply say, you know what? When the wheel item itself is not selected, change the overall opacity of the wheel item. All right, so for example, I'm going to make it 50%. So what will that do? I'll go back. And now the selected item is 100% opacity, everything else is 50%. Okay. Now, depending on the background, that means the non-selected items are going to be slightly translucent, so you'll be able to see the background ripping through them. So that may not be an option. Okay. So what we can do, and this is the fourth binding value I hinted at the beginning of all of these videos. Okay. So let's just change the opacity back to 100%. And then what we're going to do, we have this frame with this border. Just trying to think the best way to do this is just create a rectangle. Yeah. All right, I'm going to add a rectangle, and it's going to be, well, it's the whole thing, right? Yeah, and it's just 150. Again, it's half of the canvas height. So we've got a black rectangle with the same radius as the frame that we used, but it's sitting above everything. So let's change the foreground, the opacity of the foreground color. I don't know, 65, well, it might be too dark. We'll just have it at 60. All right. And we only want, so we want to use our good old visibility conditioning. So it's collapsed. No, we want it to be visible and collapse it when wheel item selected is yes. So for the when the item is selected, I don't want to show this dark object over the top. I want it to be bright. Otherwise, it's visible for the non-selected items, so it makes them darker. All right. So how do we test this? We have a new switch down here. Currently it's selected. This is what it will look like. When it's not selected, it looks like this. Okay. Now we switch back to our views. And there you go. Similar effect, just using a different technique, and they're not see-through. And there's so much more that you can do with wheel item templates, and I did cover this in a lot more detail in one of my update videos. So I mean, you can certainly check in with that. But I am including a theme. The theme components, whereby you have some templates for game wheels. Okay, so by all means you can steal these, copy them, and use them, and then edit them and tailor them to your own choosing. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. If we go back to demo 2.5 features, and we'll be able to do this. We're in game mode, and I don't want the platform for this. I actually want the game clear logo. What am I looking at? Oh, whoops. Well, I do want the game text. That is one thing. But I do want this to be game clear logo, not platform. Game clear logo. Okay. And then, like I said, visibility conditioning. The text for the game only shows up if the clear logo doesn't have an image, and that's cool. And then we show the dark object over the top when it's not selected. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. So this is the game equivalent, but what we can do stuff like, well, like I showed you, we can add this new wheel item wrap. Add it here. I mean, visually this is not going to look that great, but functionally it will give you an idea of what to do. And I want to add a badge. I'm going to add it. And actually I want to change this to be, what's the orientation of the wrapper? I want to be horizontal. So if you exceed this width, the next badge will go to the next row. Yeah, that's fine. Let's move that over like that. Image is kind of big. 30 by 30. 60 by 60 maybe? Yeah. What do I want this to be? I want this to be favorite. I'm going to copy this one. I don't know. Broken. Copy it. Let's move them around like that. Okay. Okay. I know one of these games did it for my testing. I'm trying to remember. Ah, there you go. So for SSX3, we've got two badges. So we've got favorite and completed. Fight Night is a favorite. Okay. Don't know if I've got any kind of tags out there that say broken. Unfortunately, but gives you an idea. So that's where you could use the wrap panel, utilize more space. I thought that was kind of cool. These don't have images, so what's going on here? Let's see. So we have game wheel item 1. Let's switch back into views. We're going to horizontal. We'll change this one to be template. And what we'll do, make the wheel, item size, make it a little bit bigger. And I want them closer together. So the wheel items that aren't selected, we have this. Let's see what happens when I bring it down to like 1.2. Let's try 0.4. Yeah, we're getting there. And then, I don't know. Let's try 0.6 for the selected item. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And again, we can punch up our virtual gamepad and give it a whirl. And that's pretty cool. All right. Yep. And then we haven't tackled the wall view, but like I said, in a previous update video, I kind of tackled that. But yeah, I mean that's really the core of creating your own content that goes inside the wheel. You know, it makes a hell of a difference, and you don't have to code. You just design visually, and you're good to go. Now, speaking of wheels, and I may put this out at the beginning of the video, but when you are moving from version 2.3 to 2.5, you will have to tweak up all your wheels. They will probably look smaller when they convert over, but it really doesn't take much effort to make them slightly larger, and then you can fine-tune all the spacing for the non-selected items and the selected item, which you didn't have that kind of control before, but now you do. So the benefits are definitely there for sure. All right. So that concludes version 2.5. I will put everything I can, everything that I've changed for version 2.5, the changes, the fixes and whatnot, that will be in the description for the video. That way you know, any bugs that you may have encountered in version 2.3, you can at least see if I've addressed them for version 2.5. All right. So with that said, I hope you enjoy version 2.5, but more importantly, I hope you have a great Christmas. And I will definitely not be putting out another video for the new year. So Happy New Year as well. And like I said, I hope you enjoy version 2.5. I've been working on it for 11 months. I think you're going to create some crazy, insane, cool looking themes now. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, so enjoy it, everyone.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.